Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So welcome, and if you're new today, welcome also again. And then if you want an information packet or find out more information about our center, just let one of the ushers know, and then we're more than happy to take you on a tour after the service. So we're going to start off today's service with a song by Darion.
Hello. This one, as you could tell from what I was playing before, is going to be a little bit more meditative. So this one is called Revelation Song. So if you guys know it, I hope you guys enjoy it. So thank you. Is the Lamb who was slain, holy, holy is He. Sing a new song to Him who sits on heaven's mercy seat. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, holy, holy is He. Sing a new song to Him who sits on heaven's mercy seat. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, was and is to come. All creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, holy, holy is He. Thank you, thank you.
The song really got to you. No, thank you. That was beautiful. And so once again, I'm Charlie Bourne, the practitioner for today. And also in service is Shirley Wade. And so we're available for prayer support after service. And so I'd like to thank everybody who showed up for service this morning. And we have the ushers and the greeters, and we have our sound booth team. And so we also are back to having children's church. So we'd like to invite the children up, and as we sing them out to their class this morning. And then if you feel comfortable, wave to the camera because we're online, and also wave to your neighbor. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood to wave. So if you have any devices that may go off during service, if you can silence those, we appreciate it. And then we have a few announcements. I'll move through these fairly quickly. But we have, after service today, we have the Essence of the Science of Mind with Dr. Mary Mitchell. That's 11:15 after the service, and it's in the boardroom, which is inside the office. So if you go down the hallway and take the first door to the right, it's in there. The office and bookstore is closed tomorrow, January 15th, in observance of Martin Luther King. We've got the SOAR with Spirit of Adventure Renewed. So mark your calendars. It's going to be the first event. It's going to be Saturday, January 20th. And so the details will be coming later. We have the book club again with Robin Backstrom, the story, The Ride of Her Life, the true story of a woman, her horse, and their last chance journey across America. So that begins actually Monday, January 22nd at 2:00 here at the center. And then we have Shem's Speak Your Truth, Poetry and Prose open mic, and that's going to be January 26th here in the sanctuary at 7 p.m. And then we have an upcoming workshop by Kat Cox, Reverend Kat Cox, Saturday, January 27th. And it's going to be about dreams and unlocking the power of your dreams, dialoguing with the figures in your dreams. So that'll be from 9 a.m. to 12. And you can do all these signups, in the back at the board desk, as well as you can check it out online. There's a way to sign up for classes and events online. And Lori Barnes does a really good job of putting things on Facebook. So there's always a reason to know what's going on. And then, last I wanted to announce that we have our used book sale coming up again. It starts the week of February 1st. And you can start bringing your books in. We prefer that you kind of wait till the week before, but if you want to start bringing them, we'll find a place for them. So used books, good way to recycle the energy that's in those books. And I know we've done this quite a bit, haven't we, Sue? I think we end up buying the same books back sometimes, but it's a wonderful way to move on the energy and what you learned from these books, because there's a deep meaning behind each one. And then So with that in mind, I think we're going to move into our reading with Lori, followed by an invitation by the bell from me, and then Shirley will do our prayer.
Martin Luther King Jr. Day is January 15th this year. Martin Luther King Jr. lived an extraordinary life. At 33, he was pressing the case of civil rights with President John Kennedy. At 34, he galvanized the nation with his I Have a Dream speech. At 35, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. At 39, he was assassinated, but he left a legacy of hope and inspiration that continues today. And these are some quotes by Martin Luther King Jr. We have come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to make the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. This is our hope. With faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. I am convinced that people hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other. And they don't know each other because they don't communicate with each other. And they don't communicate with each other because they are separated from each other. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be a sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or fail. Be the best of whatever you are. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear.
Please join with me in knowing there is only one light, one life, one loving God. We're meeting together this morning, aware of the divine light within and feeling a state of deep inner peace. We welcome our recent abundant rains, which are filling our lakes and reservoirs, an example of the unfailing intelligence abundance and perfect timing at work in the universe and in our own individual lives. As we witness the unfolding of God's grace and wisdom, we are left with a sense of certainty that the gifts of abundance will continue to bring blessings to us all in unique and wonderful ways. And so it is with a sense of inner joy and gratitude that we release this word to the law, and together we say, and so it is.
Good morning. Yes, I have that kind of voice. Trying not to have it, but I have it. So thank you, Shirley. I was sitting there listening to her prayer, and I thought, wouldn't it be lovely if she published all her prayers? Yeah. So a brand new day. That's what this message is today. And our theme for the whole year is a grand rising. And when we look at it's a new day, there was a time when years and years ago, we had a class where we were invited to write out what would be our perfect day. I invite you to try that. Go home and try it. And I remember thinking, it was just the best day. I scripted it out and I held on to that. I've not lived it once. But I thought, why don't I? It was just such a day of spiritual practices and drinking tea and exercise. Just a full day lived from the moment I woke up. And I still have that tucked away somewhere. And I thought, what keeps us from living those brand new days? I'm just curious because I still, like I said, have yet to live that. I seem to fall into habit days, is what I discovered about myself. There's a book that we'll be looking at this month. It's the book of the month, and it's The Four Pivots by Shasta County. And I've really enjoyed pouring through it because we've heard many times that the past doesn't define us. Yet I'm really aware that we still cling to those stories that once shaped us. And so the beauty of this teaching of science of mind allows us to revisit what was and then lean into new ideas about ourselves from the moments of self-reflection. Self-reflection is a huge part of our teaching because after all, every day is a new day. And though many of us fall into habit living, the yesterdays often carry us through. And we might reflect on our tomorrows the night before. We might impress upon ourselves an idea of what we're going to accomplish, what we're going to do. But then upon awakening, the lull of habits seems to stir us into our intentions to just go choose the rabbit trail instead and just kind of go that route and just live the day in sort of a less than energy. But Shasta County, he offers in his writing this beautiful roadmap for us to entertain for this new year. So The Four Pivots is the title of this book, and it's called Reimagining Justice, but Reimagining Ourselves. And it's just a really beautiful work of brilliance. Brene Brown really highly supports his work. So let's take a minute to think about, I'm just going to leap here, how we kind of hide from truth, how we hide from our own truth. And it's not intentional. It's certainly not intentional. But if we want to experience really a truly deep healing, that we have to question ourselves as to how vulnerable and how honest are we being with ourselves. It's easier almost to react and withdraw, but think about what it means here, pivot. Think about what that means to pivot. He describes it like this: we stop momentarily and we reflect on what is happening when you're in the game of life. We have an awareness of the relationship of others around us when we're pivoting. And then we try to maintain the focus on the goal without any kind of distraction. We're thinking that there's the hoop, and we pivoted, we're watching, we're aware of everything around us. But then the important part is to calmly and confidently flow into a new direction. That's the key point here, is to allow ourselves this flow. And this is where I appreciate what Sean Ginwright is showing us. His first point he drives home in his writing is reminding us that we can use this awareness that we're given for self-reflection by looking at what is through a lens. We usually look at it through the lens of perception, right? Through discernment in that way, which isn't the wrong way to do it. But he brings it up to say, try looking at it through the mirror. Now we've talked about mirror work, and that kind of makes us squirm a little bit. But if we really truly decide to see everything that we experience as a mirror reflection, and the exploration of this, that we as individuals are now translating this information into shifting how we are going to contribute to the world. So as he sees it, our connection moves then from being transactional out in the world to transformational by investing qualities of what we've talked about all last year, about choosing to be vulnerable, to encourage the aspects of empathy in our world and deep listening in our relationships. And then here we are creating the next moments and the next new moments in the new day with insights that begin to flow and connect to one another. So the mirror, he's so clever how he brings up the mirror. I want to share with you. He talks about being brought up in an area where I was really familiar with in Southern California. But he talked about how precious home was to his family, to his mother. She really wanted a beautiful little home. And in this home, there was one particular room, and maybe you grew up with something like this, where all the furniture was covered with plastic, right? You just don't remove the plastic. And well, that's what his mother did in this particular living room. But what she wanted was a large mirror to kind of display over the plastic sofa. So she said she'd gone to the department store and fallen in love with the large mirror that would be perfect above her couch. The mirror was framed in golden leaves that reminded me of Roman artwork. 1973, she went into Barker Brothers department store, purchased this mirror, and it would find its home in my mama's living room to this very day. She placed that mirror right above the couch, the one covered with plastic. For nearly 50 years, this mirror has witnessed every moment of our family's growth. Like the time when my baby brother ran into the house after he set the backyard fence on fire, he ran right past that mirror into our room and underneath the bed. The mirror saw everything. The time my father ran out of lighter fluid for the backyard barbecue, so he prepared, he went to the store to pick up some charcoal, and he saturated it with gasoline from the lawnmower. And he said, my friends and I stood back and watched him light the grill, and boom, it exploded in his face. That's when he ran to the mirror. Back to the mirror, the one above the couch in the living room, to see damage. Luckily, he only singed eyebrows, and his face and his body were covered with black soot. My mama didn't care much about that explosion. She just wanted him out of that living room to keep the soot off of all her good furniture. But on and on about this mirror. So several pages take up the honesty of the mirror reflecting back to us without judgment. It just shows you what is. And he said there were moments you want a really good mirror because you want it to tell the truth. You want to know that hardcore reality. He talked about his complexion and blemishes and shaving, and he said the mirror he discovered at a very young age was the source of truth telling. So that's where he brings in this concept of mirror work. And he also brings into this idea for us to explore this month is what is blocking us. And oftentimes we are even numb to our own ignorance. Now that's what Earnest Holmes reminds us of, doesn't he? He says one of our biggest problems is our ignorance. That's the greatest sin we have. If there is such a thing as, if we lived by worrying about sin, is this ignorance that we aren't paying attention to what is real, what is true. And we tend to carry shame and insecurity that can go unnoticed until someone calls it out. And it can surprise us when somebody calls that out on us. And it can fill us with fear, but suddenly we've been exposed. But wait, it's a brand new day. That's what we're talking about. And I'm just being human, and somebody's calling me out for being human. The not good enough then begins to fill up our soul energy, and we don't really trust what's going to happen next. Now, then, the untethered soul, Michael Singer says the natural ups and downs of life can either generate personal growth or create personal fear. Which of these dominates is completely dependent on how we view change. So, as an example that I'm going to try to paraphrase it a little bit of what he described in his opening introduction to his work. He is a professor, and he was noticing that his students were not engaged at all with his curriculum, and he kept coming back to class and noticing that they're all just kind of looking back at him, just, slumped in their chairs and not really participating. And he finally said, called him on it. He was getting upset that they weren't doing the reading. And a student said, "Did you even actually read your own syllabus, Dr. Jinwright?" And so right away, you start getting insulted, like, how dare you question the professor? And he said, "Well, of course I did." He felt really perturbed by her questioning. And then somebody else said, "Did you review all of the syllabus?" And he said, and he goes, now he knew that something was wrong. Something was going down a trail that he wasn't quite comfortable with. And what he was teaching was African American social theory. And he realized that he had given them curriculum from 2007. And so he realized it was already outdated. So listen to how he describes this. "I was mortified that I had failed to update the readings and revise the material for timely and relevant examples. Immediately, my fear, the one that I thought had somehow disappeared, showed up and was staring at me in the face. So I did what any insecure, fear-filled professor would do. I lied. I lied to save face. I replied in my confident, proper, deep professor voice, 'Well, the theoretical underpinnings of sociological phenomena remain in the Black life, and these readings, while dated, are classic and still relevant, blah, 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 blah.'" And he said he knew he was just giving them a smokescreen. That's not what it says here, but I will keep my language clean. But he said after escaping the embarrassment of that moment, he had a decision to make. Now, have you ever done this? Maybe you kind of white lied your way to get out of something uncomfortable, but then you have a chance, you have an opportunity to clean it up. And he said, "I could use my position and power as the professor to sweep my mistake under the rug, or I could come clean and tell the truth. Guess what he did? He chose to tell the truth. That's not easy, to stand before people. So the following week, after he had a lot of deep reflection and contemplation, he came back to the class and had an honest conversation about his mistake. He admitted that he wasn't organized and thoughtful about the course like he should have been. He didn't make any excuses. He explained it the best way that he could. And he was realizing that now he was down to the very roots of his own soul, his very core. And he was telling them, apologizing from his gut. He said, I'm sorry, it was my bad. I truly regret this. And they knew it and they could feel him. And then he even writes in here, can you feel me? How many people have that courage, right? It's so easy to just stay with the lie and just, make it be, put it back on the students, make it their problem. But he chose right then to get to be vulnerable. And in being vulnerable, he co-created an empathetic situation where everybody had a chance to be understood and heard. I just think, and to me, that's just a beautiful example where our deepest healing happens. Here you pivot and you face what is happening. Self-reflection. This is what's called for. Moving from seeing through the lens of a misperception to seeing it as the mirror of telling the truth. So we might have been asking ourselves this question, how do I engage with humanity when I'm so much in disagreement with it? And that's why this theme for 2023 is the Grand Rising, where we are each called to come to our fullest, truest, deepest potential to live spiritually fulfilling lives. Lessons have been learned, and now we rise up. Earnest Holmes supports this by saying we cannot be born of the Spirit unless we do the will of the Spirit. The will of the Spirit is always goodness, peace, mercy, justice, and truth. It is conscious union with God. An illumination, an inspiration, and realization must come through the self-knowing mind in order to manifest. Must come through the self-knowing mind, must come through our self-reflecting. It must come through. So are you willing to join us all in this year of self-reflection, to see some of the uncomfortable truths within your own experience, within your own heart, to be vulnerable enough to change, to heal, to grow, to learn? So he says the most important question you can ask yourself is, what do you want? What do you want? And he said, go even a step further. What does the future self of you want? We can look at the immediacy right here in front of us. What do we want? But when we really allow ourselves to slip in to see what is the future for us, what is that going to be for us? What do we want? He talks about looking at 3 abilities of seeing: hindsight, which I've always was really good at. I thought, if people say, do you think that you're psychic? And I said, no, I got really good hindsight. That's where it shows up for me. But if we don't look at and review what has been, then we're not learning life's lessons. But so there's hindsight, and then there's foresight, where we kind of vision and imagine. These are tools that we can use, that we can predict and help co-create what's going to be next for our experience. And then I love this next one, is the insight. He invites us to say, look and see with an inner certainty and an inner calm. That's insight. And that's where we grow. And so one of the phrases that you'll hear often from Cher Matthews, if you've ever had classes with her, she'll say, love is all there is. Love is all there is. Even when she is the most wounded by something the world has done, she will say, but love is all there is. And remember in Ernest Holmes, love is the divine givingness of spirit. So if we start a brand new day with holy moments and know that love is all there is, even in the annoying moments, there's a call for love. A call for love is always there. We most likely will choose love if we set out the intention to do so each brand new day. So Martin Luther King Jr. says, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience. You see, it's not when we're comfortable. It's not when everything's going our way. It's where we grow is when we're standing in times of challenge and controversy. That's the ultimate measure of who we are. So what will it take for you to start to experience a whole new day to be extraordinary? What spiritual aspect of your deep knowing will you connect with to witness a change in yourself this year for a brand new day? There is some beautiful quotes in that I want to share with you in just a moment to try to drive this home. But when we refer to the insight that I hope you walk away with, one thing that Sean reminds us is insight doesn't come from reading about it. It's cultivated through practice, tough, hard, get up and do it again type of practice. Practicing insight means we give ourselves permission to fall down, mess up, brush ourselves off, and try again. So this idea is not about going away for a silent retreat somewhere, but engaging in life in such a way that you are choosing to be the one to make a difference in the world. So here's some of these. This is from a civil rights lawyer, Brian Stevenson. We're all burdened by our history of racial inequality. It's created a certain kind of smog that we all breathe in, and it's prevented us from being healthy. But what comes with that is another quote from a rabbi, Harold Kushner. He says, let the fog burn away so that we see each other clearly. Let the fog burn away so we see each other clearly. We can see beyond labels, beyond anyone's accent, gender, skin color. Let the warmth and brightness of the sun melt our selfishness so that we can share the joy and feel the sorrow of our neighbor. And let the light of the sun be so strong that we will see people as neighbors. Let the earth, nourished by rain, bring forth flowers to surround us with beauty. And let the mountains, let nature teach our hearts to reach upward to the heavens and inward to heaven. There's so much in the world right now as we look at looking at news and looking at politics and inviting us to try to stay centered. This is a year where I invite you all to pivot, to take time and say, it's a brand new day. It's a brand new day, and I want to love my neighbor as I love myself. I want to put these spiritual principles into practice, into truth. I want to live each day authentically and honestly. I want to tell the truth. And if I need to be quiet, then may I have the courage to not have to speak up, but only speak when I am deeply centered in my own truth. Valerie Carr, I'm going to close, if you could come up and play. She is one of my favorite authors, and she's a Sikh woman. Valerie Carr, See No Stranger is what she has written a book on. She's a lawyer. But hear her words. What has been an ancient spiritual truth is now increasingly verified by science. We are indivisibly part of one another. We share a common ancestry with everyone and everything alive on earth. The air we breathe contains atoms that have passed through the lungs of ancestors long dead. Our bodies are composed of the same elements created deep inside the furnaces of long dead stars. We can look upon the face of anyone or anything around us and say, as a moral declaration and a spiritual, cosmological, and biological fact, you are a part of me I do not know. I look out upon you. You are a part of me I do not know. She goes on to say, love is more than a feeling. It's a form of sweet labor, fierce, bloody, imperfect, life-giving. A choice we make over and over again. If love is sweet labor, love can be taught, modeled, and practiced. This labor engages all our emotions. Joy is the gift of God. Grief is the price of love. Anger protects that which is loved. And when we think we have reached our limit, wonder is the act that returns us to love. So join with me in that knowing as we leave this moment filled with love alone. Allow our hearts to be unburdened. Lay down any form of separation. And let this moment just blend into a sense of perfection, of oneness, of truth. And as we allow ourselves to stand in that true knowing that love is all there is, we realize that in this brand new day, we have a choice to speak truth, to walk in our truth, to share our truth, and to listen to others as they express their truth. So thank you, God, for the ability each one of us has for self-reflection and self-knowing. This gift of understanding who we are and where we're going. I give thanks for this center, for this teaching, for the community that we build together as we walk with humanity hand in hand and heart to heart, knowing that we won't always agree on all things, but we can agree on love. And that is what holds us together. So thank you, God, for love. Thank you for the self-givingness of spirit that is forever, ever flowing through each and every one of us. I release this prayer knowing that love is all there is. Thank you, God. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, Judy. And your turn. Thank you guys for listening.
Oh, actually, if you'll allow me real quick, I actually have to grab something from my bag, so. Very important things for me. Okay. Now we are prepared.
Carrie, and take two.
Take two. Please cut that from the live stream. Oh. As I was listening to that, I was kind of listening to Sue's talk. I kind of started tearing up a little bit Only because for myself, I had a very, very tough year in 2023. And kind of listening to kind of the message of love and being able to tell yourself the truth and develop as a person. I feel like I did a lot of growing in 2023. And as I was sitting there, I figured this would be an appropriate song to sing. It is called First Day of My Life, and it's by an artist called Bright Eyes. This is the first day of my life. Swear I was born right in the doorway. Just that everything changed. You felt as if you just woke up. This is the first day of my life. Glad I didn't die before I met you. I don't know where I am, I don't know where I've been, but I know where I want to go. So I thought I'd let you know that these things take forever, and I especially am slow. This time that I need you, and I was wondering if I could come home. Remember the time you drove all night just to meet me in the morning? Said it was strange, you said everything changed. You felt as if you just woke up. You said, this is the first day of my life. Glad I didn't die before I met you. Said it was strange, you said everything changed. So I thought I'd let you know that these things take forever, and I especially am slow. I was wondering if I need you, and I wondered if I could come home. So if you wanna be with me, but these things there's no telling, we'll just have to wait and see. I'd rather be working for a paycheck than waiting to win the lottery. Maybe this time it's different. I really think you like me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darian. I'd like to invite the ushers forward. I'm making a note because I forgot 2 announcements, which I'm going to do after the offertory. So as we prepare for the offertory to give my offering, my heart is filled with love and appreciation since what is offered here is for my spiritual well-being. I'm filled with gratitude knowing life stays in balance, for as I give, I do receive. So please know with me that we are so blessed, and that I am so blessed. We are blessed for the donations that we receive today, and that these donations go forth into our community. They help sustain this center, bring new life, expansion of life into this center. It's a beautiful thing. And we know that these funds and your giving, whether it be through your seva or through your monetary gifts, that they're put to use from the heart of the board, of the office, everybody who's involved in this center. And then we do become that beacon of light that we so envision all the time for this center, the beacon of light for the city of Reading. So giving great thanks, I just know that we are blessed, and together we say, and so it is. So what I wanted to mention is that, and maybe I have, I don't know, maybe I have some kind of a deal with this, but because I'm in the class, but it's a Tao of watercolor. It's for beginners, and it's tomorrow. So tomorrow is the first class, and by Sharion Wyndham, and it's from 9:30 a.m. to noon. And so if you want to learn watercolor, and I took it last time, I'm taking it again, but it's a wonderful way to learn watercolor and have a lot of fun, and there's no judgment at all in the class. So if you're interested, you can check with the board desk on that. The other thing I just wanted to mention is we are continuing our senior minister search. I know we put it in the midweek update, and you'll see it in the awareness as well. But we're continuing that search, and we appreciate everyone's input and involvement in meeting in circles or providing input to the search committee. But we're going to continue on for the search for a senior minister. And we just know that the right and perfect minister is going to show up at the right time. So we appreciate everyone's love and support. We have a community prayer in the back on the table in the foyer. You can pick that up. And then if you have any questions at all or any input you want to provide, you can reach out to the search committee or to to any of the ministers or practitioners or the board and be happy to talk with you. So I just wanted to mention that. And then also, lastly, we have the kitchen cookies. And so after service, it's a great opportunity to go visit, talk with people, somebody new, and share some coffee or tea or a cookie. Anyway, so Sue will come up after the closing song, and once again, a reminder for Reverend Dr. Mary's class after the service at 11:15 in the office. There's a room in there, and that's for the essence of science and mind. So, Darian?
This one's a sing-along. I'm sure everybody knows this one. So go ahead and sing with me if you want to, please. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. And 'twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. Oh, how precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Oh, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, we have already come. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead us home. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. One more time, I want to hear voices. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. I was blind, but now I see.
Thank you, Darian. You're a sweetheart. Let's know for him he's going to have the best year ever, right? Sitting there thinking about just saying goodbye to you in this moment of time. This is how interesting things are. I've been sick, and I'm not asking for sympathy right now, but because I'm better. But I don't think I've ever been as sick as I've been. But what happens is I hear from people, somebody said, oh, word's out that you just walked off stage and you're never coming back. Really? I'm just sick, but I realized in these couple of weeks where I've been compromised, how much I reflected on all of you. And some people have said, I'm sorry that the minister search is still ongoing, but I'm not. I'm loving every moment that is extended on, that I have this time with all of you. And I'm not going anywhere until the right and perfect minister finds their way into our loving fold here. And that's what I'm knowing and believing in. So I discovered a lot of things about myself when I was sick. I'm terribly stubborn. I'm probably the worst nurse because I wouldn't listen. But what I know, what got me through was love. Was love at 3 a.m. when I felt like I couldn't breathe. And my son was sitting in front of me and chanting, and my Charlie was sitting there with eyes of concern. And I thought, I am so loved. I can't die right now, even though I feel like I'm going to die. But then Hazel said something that I thought was pretty profound. Well, you've never been this sick, but you've also never been this old before. Right? So I am better. My voice has gone. Thank you for the. That cough, I just know that cough so well. So I'm so sorry for all of you that have the cough, the demon cough. Right, Susan? The cough. But we're all getting better together. And I'm not contagious up here, so I don't want you to go, she came. I'm on the other side of it, and just finding my strength again. I love you too. Thank you. Thank you. Have a beautiful brand new day. Thank you.